Welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. Coming up in today's episode, the tragic passing of Kevin Campbell, a Forest legend. Reiss Nelson is being linked with Nottingham Forest. 2 more defenders are being chased after by Forest, and the first signing is only days away. All this and plenty more coming up on your latest Forest news. Let's get into it. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to your latest Forest news. And it deeply saddens me to have to start with this, as Kevin Campbell has passed away. Kevin Campbell, who made 97 appearances for Nottingham Forest, scoring 35 goals, and being part of that party season with him and Van Hooijdonk up front, securing promotion for Forest back to the Premier League. Kevin Campbell plays a more important role in Forest history, and is really, for me, a sliding doors moment when we sold him. Had that not happened, only God knows what the future and the history of Forest would have looked like. I think it was a significant moment. However, it's not just what he did on the pitch. Let alone for Forest, you've got his time at Arsenal and his time at Everton. But for me, he was always a positive ray of light. His personality just made you smile. His tweets, he would tweet at 4 a.m. every morning, a positive good morning message. And for me, that really does resonate, because I'd still be up editing, tired, knackered. You'd check social media, and at about that time when I'd finished, there would be Kevin Campbell with his positive tweet. And that really would put a smile on my face. I'm sure you guys will all have a magical moment. For me, of course, it's the hat-trick against Coventry, but it's just that season in general with him and Hooijdonk absolutely tearing it up. The FFTV's thoughts and prayers are with his family right now, and I guess we just wish them, some strength through these sad times. But get your thoughts in on Kevin Campbell. I'm sure you've all got lovely memories of him that maybe will put a smile on everyone's faces, so please do share them in the comments down below. Okay, on less important things, obviously, but we have to talk about it, is Nottingham Forest latest transfer news. And we got quite a bit to bring you today. Before we do, don't forget the double-signed framed Murillo Niakate shirt that you can win from Football Prizes. You can scan this QR code or the links in the comments. And as always, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. Okay, so there's been a link coming out for Forest, and it's somewhat of a strong link about Reiss Nelson. Now, this was a player I was very close to putting onto my shopping list, but I was put off by a couple of things. I think he is a quality player, and there are other clubs who are chasing him, and it's the usual suspects. West Ham are going to be in there, etc. I think Crystal Palace are after him as well. But it's his price tag for me. 20 million is what Arsenal want for him, and I think 20 million is 20 million too much. I would probably put him around the 12.5 to 15 million value. A kind of Elanga style price I think would be a fair reflection, because I think he's very talented, but I just don't think he's had the game time against Arsenal. Now, I was there away from home last season when he scored a couple against us when we got trounced 5-0 at the Emirates. He definitely has the quality. Saka had got injured. I think it was Saka, if memory serves me right. Early doors, he came on, and to be honest, he probably was man of the match. But that was early doors and Forest returned to the Premier League, so it was always going to be easy for an Arsenal team then. But he's a right winger. He's pacey. He's got good skill. Everything about him I really like, and I think he has the potential to go on and be really good. And he needs a club like Nottingham Forest where he's more likely to start than he would at Arsenal. So I actually think this would be a really good move, not just for Forest, but for Reiss Nelson as well. I just don't think the valuation Arsenal have put on him is actually fair. Now, any young player coming out of one of the quote-unquote Big Six teams always has a big valuation tagged on them. It's like there's an English tax in the Premier League, there's a Premier League tax, and there's a Big Six tax. That's how it works. If Reiss Nelson had been getting the amount of game time or lack of game time in, say, I don't know, who's a mid-table team, like a West Ham, 20 million, they'd never be able to ask for. It's because he's part of that cartel six. And that's why if Forest go for this deal, and if Forest are interested in this deal, this needs to be negotiated down. Look, it could end up being 20 million if you do it in add-ons. Personally, I think it's a £12.5 million fee, and maybe you add 4 or 5 million on in performance bonus related add-ons, goals, assists, appearances, breakthrough into international teams, the usual stuff. But I don't think he's worth a neat 20 million. But I'm going to contradict myself. I think he would be perfect for us. He would give Elanga competition. I actually think potential-wise, he's better than Elanga. He has that football IQ for me. He's got a good finish on him, good pace, everything about him ticks my box. But do you guys agree with me on the valuation of him? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so let's move on to the next set of links for Forest, and that's defenders. We have a centre-back being linked to Forest and a right-back being linked as well. Let's start with the centre-back, and I'll be honest with you guys, both of these are not on my radar. I've probably maybe seen them in a match without realising. And let me try on the first name here. So this is the centre-back from Le Havre. He's called Etienne Ludwig Yotti Kinkui. Help me out with the pronunciation in the comments down below. I know there's a lot of you who are very, very tight about when it comes to pronunciation. But this guy, for me, is a bit of an unknown. Now, it sounds like he's had a good season at Le Havre this year. His valuation has shot up from about 300k to 7 million euros. But prior to this season, he's been, let me read you his history here. It was at Troyes and then he went to Inter Milan. Now, don't get too excited. It was in their youth team. He was in their under-19s team. From Inter Milan, he then went to Olympiacos. But again, that was Olympiacos' B team. And then from Olympiacos, January of 23, he then went to Le Havre. And it looks like he's kicked on, played about 22 odd games for them last season, I believe. But I can't give you too much information on him, unfortunately, because I haven't seen much of him, and I'll be honest about it. So he's one that's being linked with Forest. He's also being linked with a couple of other clubs, shock horror, West Ham. So keep an eye out on that one. If this starts to materialize further, we'll get one of our French correspondents. That sounds really cool and professional. I don't know, some dude that we know who knows his stuff about French football, and we'll get the inside track on him. Now, the other defender that's being linked to Forest is a right back, and it's Abdul Hamid. And he plays currently in the Saudi League, and he himself is Saudi. So he's not one of these European footballers that has gone for the money, etc. He's gone to Saudi. He's from Saudi and raised in that league. He's also an international player for the Saudi national team, and he's a mainstay player for them. Now, a bit about him. Again, he's played 51 times for El Hilal. He got 4 goals and he got 9 assists. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be in the Saudi League, who cares, Farmers League, blah, 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 or Oil League, whatever. But he is being linked to Aston Villa. Aston Villa are very interested in him. And this one's between Forest and Villa so far in terms of the teams that have been linked. Again, I can't give you too much information on him apart from he's highly rated by a few clubs. So the whole overriding point on this section is that we're seeing more and more defenders being linked with Nottingham Forest, which tells you a couple of things. Potentially Murillo may be going. Potentially as well, Nuno is looking for cover for the likes of Bolly as he's getting on, as his injury record isn't that great. And the other thing is Omar Bamadeli is becoming the forgotten soldier. Because I thought Omar Bamidele was really good in the games that he played last season. Yes, he made 1 or 2 mistakes, but he's young and learning. And it makes me feel that maybe Omar Bamidele isn't that high up the hierarchy list when it comes to starting for Forest next season. So I wonder if we will see Omar Bamidele either sold or loaned out this season to get him more experience. But if any of you guys have heard of the 2 players being linked to us, as always, give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Okay, let's give you the latest on Carlos Miguel. And by the way, we should have our Corinthians mate on probably Monday or Tuesday to give us the full details about Miguel from a Corinthians perspective and how they're feeling about him now, because things are going a bit sour there. Now, the latest on this is that Forest are expected to pay the 4 million euros to trigger the release fee clause on Carlos Miguel's contract. And Romano has sent an update as well on this late last night. So let me read it to you. Forest are planning to trigger the release clause for Brazilian goalkeeper Carlos Miguel after game between the Corinthians and São Paulo. Deal not done yet, but talks underway on players side and plan to pay the 4 million euros if all goes to plan. Forest caution until the end. So the plan really here from Nottingham Forest is, as we said to you at the start of this report a couple of weeks ago, that we need this one to go through after the 1st of July. And what's happened now is West Ham have completely cooled their interest in Carlos Miguel. We'd already hijacked it. As soon as they saw the name Forest, they knew they had no chance. So this one, if all things carry on as they are, will be set to be confirmed and signed. What you may see, and what we may be able to bring you in a few days, is the announcement that it's all done, pending, the money going through. Everything is set to happen for the 1st of July from what we're seeing here. So expect him to be Forest's first signing, and still expect the likes of Mangala to be Forest's first exit, as that's getting ever closer to being completed with Leon as well. We will give you a full update in another video, as I've been rambling on here a bit too much. So that brings you up to speed with your latest Forest news. Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new and you like these daily updates. Don't forget to check out the signed frame double Murillo Niakate shirt from Football Prizes. Scan this link or leave it on the end screen, or you can find it pinned in the comments. See you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.